Okay, so um, we're diving deep into this book. It's practically legendary. Think and Grow Rich. Like it's been on bestseller lists forever.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, what is it about Napoleon Hill's work that still resonates today?
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm ready to be wowed.
Yeah. It's more than just a self-help book, you
Hmm.
know? It's practically a historical document. I mean, some of the biggest names in history, like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, all these guys, they attributed their success to these
Yeah.
principles.
See, that's what I'm talking about. If it worked for those guys, I mean, there's got to be something there.
Right.
So what's the magic formula?
Well, I mean, there's no magic really, but Hilly starts with this powerful concept, the burning desire.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about just like wishing for something.
Yeah.
This is like an all-consuming desire that becomes your obsession.
Okay, so it's got to be more than just wanting like a new car or something.
Right.
We're talking like life-changing goals here.
Exactly. Think about a time you really wanted something. Like it consumes your thoughts, right? You're constantly looking for ways to make it happen.
Mm.
That's the energy Hill is talking about.
Yeah, and he actually tells this great story in the book about this guy named Edwin Barnes,
Right.
who wanted to work with Thomas Edison, not just for him. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
It's a perfect example of a burning desire.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
Barnes, he didn't just want a job. He wanted to be part of something groundbreaking and huge, you know?
Hmm.
So he shows up at Edison's doorstep with like 2 cents to his name and just keeps saying he's going to be Edison's business partner.
Wait, so he basically like willed this partnership into existence.
He understood the power of definiteness of purpose.
Okay.
It's not enough to have a vague desire.
Yeah.
You need a crystal clear target.
Okay, so Barnes was like laser focused on this goal.
Yeah.
He even like visualized himself already working side by side with Edison.
Right.
But isn't that just wishful thinking?
Well,
Where does the actual work come in?
visualization is just one piece of the puzzle. But Hill argues that by vividly imagining yourself already in possession of what you desire,
Hmm.
you strengthen your desire, making it feel more tangible and achievable. And that feeling then fuels your actions.
So it's like planting a seed in your mind, but you still have to water it and give it sunlight for it to grow.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They have the desire, they even visualize it, but then they let fear paralyze them from taking action.
Which brings us to Hill's concept of the 6 ghosts of fear. What's so fascinating here is that he connects these fears to our most like primal instincts.
Right.
For instance, the fear of poverty.
Right.
It's not just about being afraid of being broke. It's deeper than that.
Right? He connects it to our instinct to survive. Back in the day, we literally had to hunt for food to survive.
Right.
Today, he argues we prey upon each other financially.
He's saying that fear keeps us in a scarcity mindset.
Exactly. And it can manifest as like indecision, doubt, worry.
Right.
Ever get that feeling like you're holding yourself back, like
Yeah.
you're sabotaging your own success?
Hill would say fear is often the culprit.
Okay, so fear is like the enemy. But how do we actually fight it? It's not like we can just flip a switch and suddenly become fearless, right?
Well, I mean, awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Once you can like identify those 6 ghosts, poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, death,
Right.
and how they show up in your life, you can start to challenge them.
So let's say like I'm terrified of putting my writing out there for the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
What's a practical step I can take to face that fear based on Hill's ideas?
Hill talks about the power of taking gradual action.
Okay.
So instead of letting that manuscript gather dust, why not share it with one trusted friend first?
Okay.
Someone who will give you constructive feedback.
It's like dipping your toes in the water before diving into the deep end.
Exactly. You're building confidence with each small step.
Right.
And that kind of ties into another one of Hill's big ideas,
Mm-hmm.
the mastermind.
Okay.
Because sometimes we need support to overcome those fears and achieve our goals. Okay, we touched on this earlier,
Mhm.
but break it down for me again, the mastermind. What is it, and like, how do I get one?
Think of it like assembling a personal board of advisors
Oh.
for your life. It's about intentionally surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth. Think Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone. They were each other's mastermind.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
But like finding those people, that's the tricky part, right? We're not all hanging out with inventors and car manufacturers.
True, but everyone has access to brilliant minds,
Yeah.
even if it's through books, podcasts, or like online communities.
Right.
The key is to be intentional about who you're learning from and who you're allowing to influence your thinking.
So start with like your own personal heroes, even if they're just figures you admire from afar.
Right.
Then maybe look closer to home. Who are the people in your life who always seem to push you to be your best self?
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out and connect with people who inspire you. You never know what might come from a simple conversation or a coffee date. Hill believed that the synergy of shared knowledge and purpose could lead to incredible breakthroughs.
This is where Think and Grow Rich gets really practical. It's not just about dreaming big. It's about building a support system that can help you turn those dreams into reality.
And it's not about exploiting others for your own gain.
Right.
Hill is very clear that a true mastermind is based on mutual benefit, a genuine desire to help each other succeed.
Speaking of success, Hill doesn't shy away from the fact that it's rarely a straight shot to the top.
Right.
He actually dedicates a whole section to turning defeat into opportunity. What's the key message here?
That setbacks are inevitable.
Yeah.
And it's how we respond to them that defines our success. He tells the story about a guy named Darby who spent years searching for gold.
Okay.
He finally gives up, sells his mining equipment for pennies on the dollar, and guess what?
He found the gold right after selling his equipment. Come on, you've got to be kidding me.
Not kidding. The guy who bought Darby's equipment found a gold vein just 3 feet from where Darby stopped digging.
Ouch. That's got to sting. But
Yeah.
there's a lesson in there, right?
Absolutely. Think about a time you almost gave up on a goal. Could you have been just 3 feet from success? This story is a powerful reminder to analyze our failures and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? Should I push a little further?
It's like that classic entrepreneurial advice. Fail fast and fail often, but learn from every failure.
Exactly. And that learning leads to persistence, which Hill argues is non-negotiable for achieving any worthwhile goal.
Persistence. I mean, that's a word you don't hear enough these days. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants instant gratification these days.
Right.
But Hill is saying that true success, it takes time, effort, and a whole lot of grit.
He doesn't just throw the word around either.
Yeah.
He gives examples like John Hancock and Samuel Adams,
Yeah.
these guys. They faced danger and opposition like crazy during the American Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
They could have easily given up, but their persistence ultimately helped birth a nation.
Okay, that's pretty inspiring. But what about those of us who, weren't exactly born with an abundance of persistence? Can we actually cultivate it?
Hill believed we could.
Okay.
He says it starts with a definite purpose, that burning desire we talked about earlier.
Right.
That's the fuel. Then it's about self-reliance, accurate knowledge, and having a plan, even if it's a work in progress.
Right.
Oh, and remember the mastermind.
Yeah.
Those folks can be your cheerleaders when you're about to throw in the towel.
So it's like this whole ecosystem for success. Burning desire, persistence, a killer, mastermind. It all works together. You know what's really blowing my mind here? Hill doesn't just focus on achieving material wealth.
Right.
He talks about aligning your thoughts, actions, and environment with your goals.
It's about cultivating what he calls a wealth consciousness. And before you think it's just about money,
Yeah.
he's actually talking about a mindset of abundance and believing in your ability to create value in all areas of your life.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Hill is basically giving you the tools to rewrite your internal script.
He even gets into the power of the subconscious mind,
Yeah.
suggesting we can tap into it for creative inspiration and problem solving.
This is where he talks about his imaginary council.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds a little out there, I have to
Yeah.
admit.
Yeah.
But he'd actually visualize himself having conversations with these legendary figures, like he's drawing on their wisdom.
It might sound unconventional, but Hill argued that this type of creative visualization, this tapping into what he called the sixth sense, is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Burning desire, overcoming fear, the mastermind principle, turning defeat into opportunity, and the importance of persistence. If you had to distill it down to one key takeaway, what would it be?
Hill believed we all have far more potential than we realize. Think and Grow Rich isn't just a book to be read, it's a call to action. It's about taking those desires, those dreams, and turning them into concrete goals.
Yeah.
And then having the persistence to keep going even when things get tough.
So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this deep dive, it's this. If Henry Ford, a guy with limited schooling, could build an empire with these principles, imagine what you could achieve. What is your burning desire? And what's the first step you can take today to start turning it into reality?
No, that's something to think about.
Until next time, keep diving deep.